I think we can gradually get started first. Thank you everybody for your time. I want to make it really quick and short because we all know this application is all about. I think the result, like for two solutions for us and the other company, I'm pretty sure it will be the same if we work it properly. But just present it, help you to kind of evaluate, what would be the good way to proceed that. Yeah, so thanks Kirk and thanks Scott to invite me and arranging this is really awesome. Thank you so much. Right, okay, so if just from the beginning, any question or comments before I started? Okay, great. All right. So I'll start with the company. So I'm the CEO and founder of Roby. So we have been working on this since 2018. It's been growing nicely. We are local in Washington. We're a Washington company. We have been working with several colleges in SBCTC so far. And our focus is really on the integration technology. So one of the big BMS vendor, Honeywell, actually licensed our technology into their BMS software. So we've been really focused on integrating your HVAC system with any other IT system, which calendar in this case is like the most focus we are talking about today. Okay, so just want to give everybody a little bit background about who we are, what we are doing. So we've been doing this for quite a while and really focus on this integration with IT. Okay, cool. So as this first page is, there's still some people coming in. Hold on, sorry. Okay, cool. All right, so first page basically showing like what we are going to present it today. Very straightforward. It's about HVAC scheduling. So you can connect with your calendar. In this particular case, I think it's about classroom, common spaces, and all that, and connect that with, I think majority of you is probably stay on 25 Live here. So connecting your 25 Live and then do the scheduling. I think the value proposition, we all know this, a lot of classroom, very difficult to maintain room by room in a granular way. It is very time consuming. Some of the team try to do that. Yes, they're doing a great job, but at the same time, they also spend so much time on the scheduling. So it's kind of the trade-off. It's like either you spend so much time to do the scheduling, either you have a fixed schedule that kind of like bring up the topic today. So there's a lot of energy saving opportunity here as well. So our solution, again, very straightforward, connected to your 25 Live, automatically schedule. So when I say schedule means like when the room is not in use, we put it into unoccupied mode, essentially. And then on the right side, this is just a very quick, very quick spec, what kind of calendar we support throughout the years. There's so many calendar we have done it already. And then my experience so far is like, I would say 95 to 99% of the calendar system will allow the integration. So which means like if you're using something besides a 25 Live, we're happy to support them. Okay, custom solution is not a problem. In terms of the BMS, we don't have to particular brand. If you using backnet or even cloud-based solution, we will be able to do that. So before the installation, we actually will take a look at your system. I wouldn't say every system we can do it. That would be exaggerated. So some of the cases when I'm working with the colleges is like the first step is like if they have a very legacy system, we will take a look at first to make sure the risk is not too high to implement this. So we actually would recommend some colleges to say, okay, some of the building, we don't recommend to do this until you have a upgrade, stuff like that. So that will be part of our installation process, which I'm gonna talking about later on. And that's one of the reasons we found we have reliable vendor in terms of that. Last but not least, this is the right side, a little bit just, additional benefit. It's nothing to do with application here, but you working with us, basically it's like your integration partner. Like I said, we've been focused on the IT integration. So once you have this calendar integration done, you feel like you see a lot of benefit, you can actually connect it to your CMMS, your teams and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not gonna diving into all that kind of use cases. I'm gonna briefly bring it up later on in this presentation. Like one of the college, they using calendar, they like it, and they integrate something else to even make it more efficient. So that would be just a good example, and that's it. But today we focus on this calendar integration. I will pause it for 30 seconds. Is there any question until now? Cool. All right. Thanks, guys. So yeah, so this is the data, the most recent case. That's why I bring this one up. We deployed to Central Washington University. It was earlier this year, and they have Sky Spark data. So I found it really convenient to kind of bring it up and then to see the actual energy saving here. So the previously, like I said, they schedule something like a 7 to 7, Monday to Friday, and in one of their building. After implementing Roby, basically just reduce 85 time, HVAC runtime. I want to make sure I clarify this. When I say 85 means like we put 85% of this occupied mode into unoccupied mode. Okay, I just want to make sure I clarify that. And the data shows like 23% in average of energy saving. That's weather normalized already compared with last year. And last but not least, is about that's their estimation. It's not mine. It's about 100 hours, approximately equivalent working hours. Means like because the system put so many events, right? Like occupy, unoccupied event into the system. In average, is about more than 2,000 plus per month event put into it, which is reasonable. If you're thinking about you have a 20-30 room, each of the day, if you have a 2 classes, you at least need 5 events, right? 3 on, 2 on, right? For example. And if you times 30, 50 room every single day, that's probably about that numbers, right? So this basically trying to show the team to say, okay, not only, we save energy, but this is very difficult for some engineer manually trying to replicate this is very, very time consuming to do this granular level. Okay. Again, pause on this, 30 seconds. Any question here? Oh, please.
Yeah. What kind of system, do you know what kind of HVAC system a building like this had? I mean, was it like a train system where you actually could turn off on and off individual classrooms, offices, etc.?
Yeah, so what we do is like as long as currently my experience, like as long as you have backnet and then you have like, for example, VAV boxes, right? And then we can control the individual unit, and that would do the trick. So yeah, and Roby will automatically break down the room by itself. So what I usually working with you is like I'm gonna put out all the room lists on your calendar system, and I'm gonna do some filtering. So for example, patio and all that, parking lot, I gotta filter all that out. And I send it to you for review it first. You say, okay, it's another room. I don't even want to schedule. Fine, we just remove it. So initial could be 400 room and then trim down to 200. Very, very normal. And most likely I'm gonna do a lot of those trimming work for you. And then you eventually just say, okay, those are the 100 room. I want to do it. Perfect. Then my team will do the mapping for you to say, okay. And then once that mapping is confirmed, put in the program, it will break down the zone and the schedule by itself. Any other questions?
Jay, I just wanted to mention, it is possible to filter that out. You're just getting the raw data through the API, but it is possible to filter that out before it even gets to you if that's an option.
Yeah. So what I do, is I go on site. I personally would go on site to your site, and I will export it, download it, that spreadsheet, and then I bring it back home, filter it for you. That's what I usually. It's not a lot of work, so it's okay. I just go and download it. It's fine.
Yeah, sounds good.
Right. So before you even started, we don't really need IT to get involved yet. So it's more like, okay, that's decided room and which building are doable. So make sure what are the building and the room is doable first, right? And then you want to do it before we reach out. the IT team. Yeah, that's essentially the process. Any other questions? It's still person coming. Okay, cool. All right. And yeah, this is, besides I keep selling what is the benefit, I think everybody here already know. I want to talk about the real side, right? What if something happened? We've been experimenting, experienced, pretty much a lot of edge cases for the higher ed and school district right now. So we can very confidently say those are the very, very common cases we heard from our customer. So first one is definitely about the preheating and pre-cooling. We care about the comfort complaint. So Roby, you can customize it. You can basically say, I want the unit turned on 30 minutes before, 20 minutes before, 1 hour before, really up to you. And you can actually do room by room if you really want to. For example, some of the rooms are really big. You want to do 1 hour ahead. Some of the rooms smaller. You want to do 20 minutes. That's all customizable, first of all. And you can also define the extended as well. So for example, after class, extended 20 minutes or 10 minutes, whatsoever. In between the classes, for example, in between the classes is only 20-minute gap. We usually wouldn't turn things off. We wouldn't put into unoccupied mode. We just leave it on. So just preventing that either, the constantly running heating and cooling events, right? So those kind of things are basically covered by Roby, and then you have to tell us what's your preference. By default, it's 1 hour. Just trying to prevent it. It's pretty minimal comfort request we got. Usually the comfort requests we will get is because it's not because of preheating and pre-cooling. It's more about the grouping. So here's an interesting piece, right? For example, one of the good example is like kitchen and cafeteria. On the calendar side could be separate unit, right? On the calendar, and then on HVAC side could be separate unit too. On Roby's standpoint, we read a calendar. We say, okay, kitchen is scheduled, cafeteria is not scheduled. We turn off the cafeteria and the kitchen is on, for example. And then usually, oftentimes is a culinary class, right? For example, you need to both of them on, right? So my experience is it's very, very difficult to group in that before deployment, to be honest, because there's so many rooms, right? You have a 100, 200 rooms. You have to go through all the detail and then go back to your BMS to take a look. That could take a lot of time. So maybe the easiest way is actually once you roll it out, you got a first one complaint, you got it, and then you tell us to say, hey, let's group those together, and then we put it together. That's a very common complaint I have heard. Pre-healing, pre-cooling, I don't get that much, to be honest. Yeah. So what would happen? What's the procedure? If someone you really receive comfort complaint, what can you do, right? So we make sure your system can override Roby first and foremost. So basically, if you have thermostat, some teacher, whatever, they can just override by themselves. Your system can override Roby. If you're with Allerton Compass, some of them here are, you can even remove the Roby schedule by yourself, and that should be it. And then so that's the common things. And then what I would say 95% why this comfort request happen is people walk in without schedule on 25 Live. I was so far 90 to 95%. And then we usually show the evidence very clearly, say, hey, this is your 25 Live. But that person probably not scheduled. So usually the facility team, there's a two strategy of that. One strategy is like, hey, next time make sure you schedule on 25 Live if you want to use it, or they spend money on, for example, occupancy sensor to turn it on. I recommend the first one because second one, you never know how much time they need in the classroom. You walk in for 5 minutes, do you want to turn it on or not, right? So those are the questions, for you to make that decision. Okay, second common one, what is the most common incidents? First one, internet connection is when it's not stable, then Roby lose that connectivity. And how Roby handle it. So in this situation, you don't have to panic. Roby basically read 2 weeks ahead of your schedule and then store in the local software, our local connector. So basically it means like you have 2 weeks to figure out the internet connection. Which is like usually you should be more than okay in that case. And second very common question is like how often Roby read the calendar to update it. Really depends on school by school and your use cases is customizable. We recommend every 24 hours. So basically means like 12 a.m. Roby read 25 live, put a new schedule on a local software, another 2 weeks. That should be good enough. If you said your use cases need to be more updated, we're happy to do that. You can do half day. You can even do real time if you really want to do it. We don't recommend that because that would create a lot of activity on your back now or on your system, right? It's probably not the best idea, but it's really up to you. Okay. And misusage of calendar, yeah, that's a big one too. So we build a lot of feature around that, just so you guys know, because we learned throughout the process. One of the most common one is like IT team or administration team, whatever. For example, they installed a new TV in a room, whatever it is. Usually, sometimes they will put like a 2-day or 3-day, multiple day event on your 25 live. And if you don't have the feature like we do, we gotta read the calendar, turn it on for 3 days nonstop. That would be pretty catastrophic. It's not good. So what happened to Roby is like you can set out a threshold. Usually we recommend like a 4-hour or 5 hour is a threshold. Means that if any event schedule more than 5 hours, Roby will send an email to us and to you as well to say, please verify if this is something you really want to schedule or not, right? If you don't, then we can just exclude that. If you do, then we just leave it on like what it is. And we do have the feature as well to say if they schedule multiple day in the daytime, they still want to use it. You want them to be on, but in certain time you want to cut off. You can also define like this. You can say, okay, for multiple days, even the latest hour we go for 9 p.m. for example. After 9, we just shut it off. So there's a lot of learning around that, the feature around that, we build around that for sure. And for office area, if you say, okay, I even want to say for office area, we have a feature called office hour. So you can actually define some of the spaces, for example, constantly being used from 7 to 3, for example. You can say, okay, from 7 to 3, Roby, don't do anything on that space, just leave it alone, right? And then it will run the regular schedule as it is. So a lot of that is about how people use the calendar. Those like something we want to share with you as well. Okay. Pause in 30 seconds. Any question around the edge cases we're talking about here so far?
Yeah. So Jay, I have a couple thoughts on
Yeah.
a couple of thoughts. So one is we do use event types in 25 Live, and a lot of those event types will represent sort of the activity they're doing in the room. So for example, you brought up if there's maintenance work being done. So we usually build an event type called maintenance, where the activity that's being, it's occurring in that room might be, we're painting the room, we're replacing fixing some carpet or that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's something on your end we could filter out those events, because most likely maybe the room can stay in unoccupied mode during those type of activities. That's just a thought.
Sure.
The other thing is kind of with the issue that Lake Washington was having with the event state. So yeah, so he had mentioned you strictly are only looking at confirmed event state. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's correct.
So is it possible to add tentative event state to that? And the reason for that is 25 Live actually views confirmed and tentative really the same. Both the 25 Live will actually schedule the room with both event states, and the way 25 Live leverages that event state is by using confirmed. They're essentially the role of that event state is to sort of lock the event down from being edited. So there are some schools that want to allow users to edit the event, so they just leave everything in tentative event, because that gives the permissions to the user to make changes to it. where if they use confirm, that's a way they leverage locking that event down so no edits can be made. So is that feasible on your end to add both of those event states?
I think for Lake Washington, I just confirmed with Casey. The Casey site, they actually using draft. It's not even tentative.
Draft.
That's why.
Yeah.
That's why it wasn't on the calendar, so Roby couldn't even see it. That's one of the reasons.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Will you? But is it? I guess my question is, will this pick up those tentative events?
We need to check their API if they support this or not.
Okay.
If they do, yes, it's easy one. Okay. And the tentative event, my current observation, yes, it should pick up. As long as it's on the calendar, it should pick up. Yeah. So that's why I confirmed with Casey the other day. So they were in the draft stage. So that's why it wasn't.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we don't want it picking up draft events. So that's working well. That's good. Yeah. I just want to make sure it's picking up both those tentative and confirmed events. Okay.
Yeah, both. Yeah.
Perfect. All right, sounds good. Thank you. That was it.
Any other questions?
Yeah, just real quick, how many of the 30, how many community colleges are using Roby?
Yes, I posted here.
I miss it.
One, Adams College, and Lake Washington, Everett, Wacom. That's so far currently, and 2 other university here. Yeah, this is a local school district and colleges we are working right now. Any other questions? Cool. And then so the edge cases as well is like I think what Kirk just mentioned, that was a great edge cases right away. So the customer reached out to us to say, hey, Mike can schedule something on 25 Live. Why Roby doesn't pick it up? What's going on? So those are the great learning for us as well, right? So we read it and realize like they didn't really schedule on it because 25 Live, there's a draft stage, right? So that it's actually not on the calendar. So it's kind of like in between us and the customer and learning how does that work, and then like make sure everybody have a good practice, in terms of that. So those are very common small ones. So you just contact me. What we do, very simple. We put it out what we have seen from our end, and then we probably set up a call for 10 minutes to figure out. Okay, let me check what's going on, what happened. Basically that's usually what I see the most of the requests coming to our way. And configuration. So some of the common question is like a lot of time the schedule is grouping the several field unit together. Currently, that's how it set up. And the common question is like, oh, do we need to upgrade it or clean it up first before implement Roby? The answer is it's part of the installation process. Means like I just explained it. It's like my team will do the mapping first. You confirm it and let the software do the work. It will break it down, update it by itself. You don't have to do that manually before we need to do the installation. Because the whole purpose for us is like, let's make sure what other room you want to implement first, what other room is suitable for this application, means like technically, right? If the system is too old, whatever reason it is, before we do, spend time on this. And our software basically do the work by itself. Yeah. So
Jay, if I can bring one more comment I want to make, kind of going back to the misuse of the calendar, because I think that's an important one. It's so critical if you're a college using this that you communicate to your campus the importance of scheduling your event in 25 Live. This won't work if you're allowing users to go in and use rooms. If you're issuing keys to faculty and they're going in and using rooms when they want and they're not scheduling in 25 Live, this won't work. It's so important that you communicate to your campus. I would send an email out every quarter. Please, if you don't use a room unless it's scheduled in 25 Live, that's how this is going to work and be effective. So I can't emphasize that enough, that you really need to communicate to your campus as often as possible that use this system. And there's other benefits of using the system. There's a utilization issue. We can't collect your utilization if you're not scheduling your events in your rooms. So I just really want to hammer that point home.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point for sure. Any other questions? Okay, so those are the very common one, and I'm sure you're gonna run into some, and but we are here to help and then figure things out and create a new feature and all that to cover those cases. Um, okay, coming to the cases like okay, what is the difference, right? You're compare with or evaluating. I'm not here to sell in say Roby is better or whatnot, but just want to tell you the fact that I feel our strong suit is, and then that you to feel like okay, if that fit into your scenario. First of all, the system has been deployed. There's a proven result that is working, that is saving. I'm again, I'm emphasize that if you install other solution that is the same approach, I would assume you're gonna get the similar result as well. But just want to say the product is working basically. Um, one of the things I learned that our support, because the way we do the control is basically simply just one point, occupy and unoccupied mode. We don't do any other set point, min max value, offset. We don't do all that. So make it really clean in terms of support. I'll give you a good example that happened in Edmonds College in the very beginning of the project. So there's a one time they got a request, complaint from the professor, was really pissed off, the why it's not working and all that kind of stuff. So they immediately say, okay, it must be Roby, right? 100% is Roby. So I was like, sure, okay, let's calm down. Let's see what happens. So what happened was we can very simply pull out, say, okay, this is the schedule we have seen from your calendar, first of all. And then, so we don't need to argue with if I change the set point wrong or correct or not, right? Just like, okay, go back to check your trend log if Roby actually, if this is actually scheduled correctly. So they confirm Roby scheduled correctly, so they can contact their control friend to say, please take a look if there is any issues there. So there's a very clean cut, okay, there. And then if you're working with ATS Automation, so they're our partner as well. So if you're working with them, that's even better because they know us really well. So it's really smooth as well. If not, usually what I just like communicate with a control firm, I would say, hey, this is how we schedule it. Okay, can you take a look if we really schedule something wrong or is something wrong with the system? So I found this very beneficial, not like a blaming on each other and then cause a lot of mess. That for me, I found it really nice and an easy way. Um, Pricing model is very easy. So it's based on how many room on your 25 life. So we charge per room. So I can tell later on we are recently working with Everett Community College about their budgeting. I was experimenting this with the team. Because with this structure, it's very flexible. You can say, okay, this is my budget. This is the grant I can get. Okay, trying to maximize the usage, right? And so some of the building you can have a full deployment. Some of the building can have a partial, so you can move around all the kind of room. That's totally fine. So I found this is also very scalable, very easy to helping you to do the budgeting. Last but not least, this want to emphasize about this. Once you're working with us, we are your partner for many different ways. One is about energy. So we can help you to maximize your energy saving, potentially more grants in the future with PSE or other utility company you work with. That's something we can provide as well. Last but not least, again, we are the integration partner. I want to bring up one of the use cases in Lake Washington Institute of Technology. So they implement a calendar integration. They really like it. So they working with us like an integration partner. So they have additional budget because they see a lot of saving from Roby. So they're using those budget to integrate with their Microsoft Teams, with their HVAC system, which for their faculty and office worker, when they have a hot cold call, they can go on their Microsoft team to say, I feel hot, I feel cold, and then it changes the temperature by itself, automatically create a ticket on their CMMS system, saving so much time for them to deal with those workloads. So it's a kind of interesting strategy to say, okay, we see some saving here, we use that money to using something else to make it more efficient. So we are here to help if there's any needs for that. Okay. Pausing here. 30 seconds. Any questions?
Yeah, one other quick thing, just full disclosure, we use a competing company. We've got a couple buildings on trial.
Sure.
I think it's important to point out that it also a big deal is how your HVAC company that did your graphics, how they set your existing systems up. Because, you know, for us, we have everything in zones. And so that was a big part of this, was actually having to have our Control Solutions Northwest come in and rezone everything and set up points and all those things. And I just want people to know there could be additional steps depending on how your original system was set up.
Yeah. So thanks for comment. Yeah. So that's one of the, you know, as mentioned, is one of the installation process. So either you can work with the control firm to reconfigure the zone. Either you can work with Roby. We're using software to create a zone by itself. Either way work. So that to maximize the saving, you definitely need to be the zone level control to maximize it. Yeah.
So Jay, just a couple more thoughts. So two things. So the pricing is a subscription model. So I want schools need to look ahead. Scott's mentioned this several times. Schools need to look ahead and budget this for the future. We have money in this grant program right now for this one-time setup, but we want obviously you to sustain this tool long term. So factor that into your budgetary decisions. Secondly, though, if you have a budget for 100 rooms and let's say there's 150 classrooms you really want to set this up with. Now, obviously, I'm going to advocate setting it up for as many rooms as you can. But if you have to make decisions and you have to limit how many rooms, I would suggest, and Jay, I'd be interested in your thoughts here on this, is that if you have a really high utilized space or building, you're pretty much keeping those rooms in occupied mode most of the day. So this tool, you're not going to benefit as much with those spaces with this tool because the rooms are highly utilized. Where this tool is going to really save you some money is on the buildings and spaces that aren't used very often. It's the rooms that you have 1 or 2 hours a day you're getting used, or 4 to 5 hours a week you're getting used. That's where this tool is really going to shine and save you money. So if you have to make those decisions on which rooms you want to do, I think you should look at the rooms that are underutilized and maybe leave off the rooms that are highly utilized, because those are going to be occupied and used most of the week. So the tool is not going to be benefiting you as much. That's my opinion. Jay, what are your thoughts on that?
I agree. I do run into the team. Oh, Gordon is here. I do run into the team. Welcome. Their team is hustling. They do the schedule even before Roby already. So which is kind of opposite. It's more activity save them more time in that cases.
Right.
Absolutely. But it's I see your comment. It really depends on what value you see from this kind of application. Yeah.
Those are the labor costs that you're trying to encourage them to save. But if they're doing the schedule in advance and spending all that labor time doing it, that's also another reason they're not really benefiting as much from the tool. So absolutely. So just food for thought on some of this.
So it's either way. Yeah. Either saving your hours or either saving energy if you have a fixed schedule. Right. Any other questions here? Okay, cool. Following on, this is the recent activity. This is just share my experience. I'm not saying this is standard procedure, but this is a recent experience when we're working with Everett Community College right now. Is like they know like how much the grant they have. Then what we do, first of all, helping them to decide the scope. So how I do it is like I mentioned, I pulled out the list of a room, I filter out for them, have a discussion with them, and then we even have technician to take a look to say, okay, eliminate 1 or 2 building. We actually say, okay, this setup probably doesn't make too much sense, we actually help them to trim it down rather than trying to add a lot of room. Actually, so we trim down certain level. We said, okay, I think those are the total room makes sense for you guys to implement. And then based on your budget, to Kirk's comment, is like we actually provide several options to them. Means that if you want to use this grant to do 2-year subscription, or you want to just 1-year subscription, so we have 1 or 2 options for them, and then to kind of maximize. So for us, obviously, our goal is trying to, if you use Roby, the longer the better, basically, right? I mean, I wouldn't lie about it. So we encourage you to go for 2 years. So we will lower down our implementation costs if you go for 2 years option, which means that you can have more room for 2 years in that cases, right? So we will throw like 1 or 2 option for you to take a look, and then you can make that decision to say, based on my current budget, how do I want to, and then so by the time you decided to move forward to do the implementation, we basically know, okay, what other room we can do? You got this budget, we can start working on it. That's pretty straightforward. In terms of implementation, usually take about 2 working days. First day, location mapping. Second day, the actual installation. That's usually how fast you could start it like that. And support, we talk about it already. Whenever you run into a problem, just email me directly, and I usually reply really quick with my team and all that, and we'll solve your problem. Any questions here? Just pause a little bit. So. Okay. If there's no question, this is pretty much it. This is appendix, just like some other use cases you can use with Roby, but I think it's not really relevant to this presentation, just additional benefit. And happy to share this deck with all of you. And I will also send this recording to whoever not able to attend this presentation. But again, any question?
I guess one more thing, Jay, to sum it up is, so what would be the next steps for a school that wants to pursue this? Or maybe that's a Scott question, maybe for both of you. How schools say, I'm ready, I want to do this. What would be the next steps?
So on the invite, I have everybody's email. I'm gonna, right after this, I'm gonna send out an email with this deck, and then directly reply me. That's my email. So that reply me, you're gonna find me, reply you back, and then if you want to get started the process, or you even want to experiment both solution, totally fine. I'm not charging you anything at this stage, right? So just like that, just explore this, which services you feel more comfortable or suitable to your campus.
Yeah. And I'll note that once you've talked with the vendors and you've defined your project, you do need to send me that project description before we can authorize the allocation. There's so many different words. Anyway, release your funding. And so I need that project summary description, and then we can release your funding.
Okay. I also post my email in the chat if whoever want to reach out to me proactively. But in the next 1 or 2 hours, I'm going to send out an email with the deck to each of you. Oh, please, Steve.
Hey, Rick and my vice president have a capital projects today. So if you could send me a copy of this, I'll run by everything with them later, probably today or tomorrow. We're getting ready for graduation, so everything's just crazy right now.
Oh, right. That's right. Sure. Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Do that. Any other questions? Okay. All right. I'll follow out, and definitely let me know if you want to dive deeper and see what's going on, for sure. Thank you so much.
All right. Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Bye.